I think I need to. So here we are again today in the
Mm.
Grisso Stock Trading Academy studio. Looks like I am in the hot seat this time, and I believe Georgino had some questions from me this time about, my experience over the time we spent together. So, what are your
That's
questions for
right.
me?
We're gonna reverse the roles on this because I really, you were my fifth and one of my best students who has reached, who's working, he's already on the path of building wealth, looking forward to reaching the 12th level. But I want to take you back from the beginning because when I initially approached you about stock trading, you had a different mindset. Actually, I wasn't really sure what was in your mind. It's not like you jumped in on my school and we started working together. Tell me about that experience.
Well, I could pretty much say that I'm a researcher already, a lifelong learner. I had been obviously the conversation about the stock market wasn't something new to me. I've heard about it before. I've even joined groups that try to teach you how to read those charts with the candlesticks, the green and the red, and was also confusing. And I didn't know if what you were teaching was going to be another one of those things. Like, yeah, you should do it. It's good. I'm like, man, stock market again, stock market. But whenever you have that like scar, like a bad experience, it remains like a scar in you. So you're thinking, I don't think this person would scar me because he's very genuine, honest. I'm familiar with, you being an honest person and all these things. And maybe the way you teach me is going to be different. So I open my mind up to listen, right? Like I do at anything because you can only learn, right? It can only help you when you listen. So I
Mhm.
listened, and as you definitely had a new method. So as I'm listening to you share your experience in the banking industry and
Mhm.
how you break down the method, your process of teaching
Mhm.
stocks, I was thinking, okay, it's a lot to take in. You're showing me the app. Of course, apps on their own are complicated. So I'm just listening, basically putting pieces together. So in my mind, it's like these a big puzzle with all the scattered pieces. So it's like, okay, I've heard him mention about the E-Trade. I heard him mention something about, personal finance and investing, funding the account. I'm hearing him talk about the price separator, these different things. But
Mhm.
I'm like, how can I need to be able to, in my mind, put the pieces together. Now they're pieces, but they need to become a
Mhm.
puzzle. So the more conversations we begin to have, the more I start to put a puzzle together in my mind, start putting all the pieces together using just normal everyday experiences. How can I apply this to something I would normally do every day in my life, like putting on my clothes, dressing myself, anything that we do naturally. I want it to become just that easy and that natural for me as far as stock trading because I know it's a powerful wealth tool. So I want to get it, and I don't want to be afraid of
Mhm.
it. I don't want it to be unfamiliar. I want it to be fresh, just a part of me, like something I do. But I mean, you could say I was a little intimidated at first. I was a little, maybe even a little scared at first until
Mhm.
um, some things. Now, I will say that, it's not going to be an overnight process because you actually meet people wherever they are in their
Mhm.
life. And where I was in life, I had some scattered financial obligations that I need to settle. And once they were settled, I say, hey, now I have a little bit of money freed up in savings, but now it's just sitting there. And I realized I can't just have this money sitting there. I'd already
Mhm.
invested with some, you were showing me, hey, just take this amount and try it, invest it,
Mhm.
buy a few shares. And those shares had grown over time, but they were sitting there just for maybe a month or 2 or 3 months
Mhm.
without even me doing anything. And they grew significantly. And I said, wait a minute, if that happened, and look, mind you, I have a rewards credit card where every time I spend, and I'm making purchases every day. I buy
Mhm.
food, I buy gas with it. Every day, those charges are going up and they're earning cash back. And I looked up at my portfolio account from stock trading, and my cash back account, and the stocks were more than my cash back account. So I said, I can't let money just sit anywhere, whether it's in my savings and my checking. I need to put it to work. So I went back through the course and I started digging. I said, where's the chart? And I'm a data student as well too. So I'm not overwhelmed by the whole data. The Excel spreadsheets weren't something that was intimidated at the time. Now I'm diving in. I embrace these new learning opportunities and these new challenges, but it took me to do that. And when I embraced these new things that I needed to learn, it excited me. And I delved in and I said, I can formulate a chart. And I beefed it up to where I went and did everything you did to check out the basic formulas to make sure everything was working right, just like it looked in the course. And I said, but for me, maybe I want to see a little bit more. So I start entering some more data, making some more columns, right, that would give me more information. And then I learned how to automate it. I put formulas in there that were, if I put the ticker symbol in there, the name would automatically pop up, the current price would automatically pop up, and then it started becoming alive for me. And I was like, wait a minute, this chart now it's working back with me. It's going to help. So I felt like I had a companion, a friend, in my chart. I'm looking at my spreadsheet and I'm like, this thing is helping me. It's working back with me and it's helping me do things faster. So I don't need to input everything one by one. I just put in the ticker, the name pops up, price pops up, and then I could just enter the data whenever I want to, invest and come out like that. So it really excited me just.
So at first you were intimidating. Then I believe I approached you once again.
Yeah.
And then we met at some hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to get your feedback on what you thought about before we even get into training you. I believe I asked you, what did you think about the stock market
Yeah.
at first? And now you're here, you are so excited.
Yeah.
So what caused a change of mindset
Well,
from being intimidated to now diving in and now wanting to work,
yeah.
diligently till you reach your 12th level?
Well, to be honest, it's because you were there every step of the way. And by you being there, it allowed me to grow and develop at my own pace. And that was really important for me to do everything in my pace because you said you started to just have me do simple things. Just set up an account, just set up the E-Trade account and do that part. So at least if it's set up, whether you use it or not, you have it, it's there. So having those baby steps really, it freed me because it's like that wasn't stressful, that wasn't hard. I didn't worry too much about it, but it got done, and it was a major step because without it, I couldn't trade. So now that it's there, when I decided to trade, I had it. So it's like, whoa, that baby step was actually a big step. So I said, how many more baby steps is he trying to get me to take that are actually big steps that are not as overwhelming or scary as I thought, in terms of the outcome. So I said, it just took that growth, that little bit of time, and it's not my nature to be intimidated by a thing. Sorry, especially something that I'm in control of, that I have the power to, because it's not the stock trading itself or the thing itself or the chart or the app that has the control, right? It's you. So if all these things are it's information and it's scared of me, it's intimidating to me. That's not my nature. I'm an Army veteran. I'm like, I'm going to tackle this thing. No, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to defeat my mind. If it's my mind is the enemy or my own, because a lot of times we get in our own way. And I realize that I'm very, I know myself and I try to be very introspective and very in tune with, am I causing myself a problem? Am I standing in my own way right now? So even if I'm my own enemy, my worst critic, my mindset, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to overcome this. We're going to learn. We're going to take our time, take our baby steps if we need to. And once the baby steps are taken, then you see how big of a step that was. You think about a baby that can't walk, right? They're standing up, they fall back down. All they've been doing for the last maybe couple of months is standing up and sitting down. But you're watching them and you're kind of okay with it because you're like, if they were standing up and running around, then I'd be running around watching them, everything they do. But they don't get it yet. So, you're just kind of watching them. But then when they get it, now they're standing up and they running around on their own, right? And all it took was, I need to learn this one thing, how to stand up and put one foot in front of the other. And then when they do that, it's just like, wow, they're running around everywhere. That was
So
my
you took
process,
it little by little, one step at a
little by
time,
little,
you
at
know?
my pace.
And I did say I will be with you, you know,
Yeah,
until you don't need me anymore. You say, I got this, you know, I'm on my
yeah,
own, I'm doing well,
yeah,
you know, so that's what I intend to do with all of my students.
yeah.
But now you're on the path to
Hmm.
building wealth, you
Hmm.
know, how at every step that you take, it's going to be a different mindset because
Yeah.
now you know you're sitting at the 10th level,
Oh, yes.
11th, and now you're about to reach the 12th level, you
Yeah.
know, how is that going to change your life, you know,
Uh, uh, tremendously.
you
It feels
know.
so good already knowing, because you also mentioned that the effort here at the smaller levels is no different than the effort at the bigger levels. They're just bigger numbers. But I see
Mhm.
my entire lifestyle changing from, where I lived, to how I can be able to support my kids' dreams and also teach them as well how to do this, and, buy their first cars, right? Even, be with them when they get their first homes and things like this. And my own, whether I decide to get a mansion or just a decent, two-story or something, it's gonna impact all those
Mhm.
things. My zip code for sure. I do like
Mhm.
Houston, but who knows?
Mhm.
There are some areas that I've got my eyes on, right? Moving there.
Mhm.
So,
So how would you encourage other people to take this course? They didn't know that this is such a, you know, interesting and exciting course that you should
yeah,
take it
yeah.
and run with it, learn, get, you know, all the knowledge that you need to put you on the path.
Well,
What would you tell the people? You
hopefully, I'll be as enthusiastic about it every time, because for me, I'm passionate about it now. So
know,
I have that energy, but I would tell them to not create negative thoughts around the thing, because a lot of people have, what do you call it? Negative, they just have negative thoughts about new things, right? That are new. If they would just do that one thing, just get rid of that, try it out, it's gonna impact it for the better. It cannot, not help you in a way, because we all know you can either spend money, save money, or invest it. And if you don't have it, you can't spend much of it. And you can never really save your way to wealth, because everything's always rising, costs are rising around us. So the wisest way to wealth is to invest. And the simplest way I've learned is the method that you teach. So I know they don't have an option but to benefit from the investment. So if they make the investment, take the step, take it at their own pace, ask any of the questions that they need, that at whatever level they're on, whether they're experienced or not, I believe that it's all in the mind. Whether you're successful or you're not successful, it is all in the mindset and the actions that you take. Take actions on the course, because all the course that is leading you to down that path of wealth, even the how to protect your finances and how to, make sure that, you don't lose in the process, it's
Mhm.
all in there. So if they just follow the steps, the money will be protected, their process will be protected, and
Mhm.
they'll see their wealth start to increase.
So before you know, we met together and I spoke to you about training you as a stock trader.
Hmm.
You had a bad experience. You were learning about candlestick. Now,
Hmm.
candlestick is not something that I teach in my course.
Right.
What was your experience like, and how would you compare Crystal Stock Trading Academy with other, you know, schools or
Man,
academies?
night and day. It's like light and dark. One
Mm-hmm.
is like darkness, and yours is like the light.
Mm-hmm.
Because only thing I took from that, I had a bunch of definitions. They gave me this like big workbook that had, familiar terminology or whatever, that I skimmed through. But I learned about resistance, and something about the floor and the ceiling is how they described it. So I guess, you can compare it to the ranges that stocks tend to
Mm-hmm.
bounce around in. They have a common range, and it's like, oh, if they're here, then they don't usually, they're going to go back down. If they're down, they're usually going to go back up. And I was like, that's all I pretty much remember. But how to know, it made me always question myself and be overwhelmed and frustrated because it felt like a loop. Like if I'm in this program, right, in this course, but it's teaching me in a way to where I believe I'll never have the right answer. I'll just always be searching for when is the right time to get in, when is the right time to get out. And I'll be asking that I could be a brand new student or a student that's been there a year, and I'm still asking, when do you get in? When do you get, what is the stock gonna do? Because all these sticks are just moving. It's like a snake, it's like and I'm like, I can't read this. It's not logical to me. It's very unpredictable, very, scatterbrain. It just makes my brain scatterbrain, and I can't focus like that. And when there's nothing to focus on, there's nothing to really build a process on because you're still trying to catch and see if what you I try to create a process out of everything. So if I'm trying to create a process out of something, just say like I don't care what it is. It could be like, okay, when the doorbell rings, the dog's gonna bark. He sees the mailman, the dog's gonna bark. Or he sees a squirrel, he's gonna try to chase a squirrel. So we make comparisons to things we see, but I could never formulate a pattern or a system around the way they taught because I could never trust what was happening. I'm looking at all the charts and I'm like, if I could just, if I could just, there was something that I could grasp and make sense of it, then I would do it. But I can't even grasp it to make sense of it. And you don't overwhelm people with your course. You don't make it.
Yeah, was there anyone that helped you, guide you, mentor you? And what was the value in comparison to Grissom Block Trading Academy?
Well, I think for the way I could describe it as a bunch of showboating, like there were already wealthy people who were teaching the course. He was a, known millionaire, and he did everything event style. So it's like, I got it. I don't really care if you get, of course, he didn't say, I don't care if you don't get it or not, but it's like, we're going, they got it, why can't you get it? So it's like this big class, and they make you feel almost like you're on
You mean like a seminar?
like a seminar. Yeah. And sometimes they have live trading.
So you can't really
events.
get this one-on-one training.
I could never get one-on-one training with them
And what did they promise you? What were your potential gains?
they just promised that you could have either lifetime access to us in our program with at a certain amount, or you can have a limited amount of time with us at a certain amount. And we're going to be gathering on these days and on these times, and we'll get together and we'll answer your questions, or we'll trade together live. And it was like, we're just going to show, it's almost like we're just going to keep showing you what we know, what we've learned, what we do. But it didn't allow me to do it because I'm not the professional. They weren't reaching me at my level. They were trying to reach out to me at their level. And it makes a difference.
Eventually, you ended up quitting or letting it go because
yeah,
you weren't advancing
at all.
You didn't exactly get the kind of training and mentoring that you thought.
Yeah, I counted it as a loss. I let it go because I couldn't.
See, experiences like this is what affects, if there comes by another experience, or you may just have, negative thoughts about that. That's the reason why I believe, you held back from, getting on this immediately because you had a bad experience, and here you are, so another trader trying to teach you how to train, training to become a stock trader.
Yeah. But turns out you weren't that. And you were trustworthy and you were willing. It was the exact opposite because at that time, these people they cared about themselves more than me in my own perception. My perception is my reality. So in my mind, they cared about more themselves and their ability to trade than my ability to trade. You were the opposite. You care more about my ability to learn how to trade because you already had it. Right? Than my own ability. Even you believed in me more than I believed in myself. I'm like, well, I don't think I can do this. I don't believe I can do it. But if he thinks I can do it, if he believes I'll get it or I can do it, I'll play along, right? And then in playing along, something click and it's like, wait a minute, I got it. His teaching method is actually effective. It's not, confuses. It's not a bunch of charts and graphs that keeps your mind like spinning, head going like, oh my gosh, you're dizzy at the end of the day. You're tired. You want to slam the computer. Every time I shut my computer top down right now. I want to open it up now to see, just to look at another stock or maybe, wait a minute, where could I allocate money into a different, so it's really become, it's fun to me. It's almost like a video game, but it's one that I know is going to pay me in the long term. So, yeah, it keeps me coming back and back for more and more and more. Now you don't have to chase me down. I'm chasing you down. Yeah.
Well, Mike, I don't have any additional question, but I do want to thank you so much that you decided to, take advantage of the opportunity, and now you have a clear understanding of what your goals are, and here you are on track, on the path, on the way to becoming a wealthy in the future.
Would you like for me to share my just a glimpse of
Oh, yes, of course, please.
my
please.
spreadsheet?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going
Just a glimpse.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give a glimpse and what it can do.
Yeah, I think
For now.
we're planning on a separate lesson for this.
Okay. All right. I won't go too much into detail. I have to reduce this. I just want to show the people kind of how exciting this is for me and kind of what I could do. I'm gonna share my screen. I'm still working on it, right? There are some I've tried to make some changes and they all have not come to fruition yet. I'm still researching some stuff. So the industry and all those things aren't available, but I'm gonna share this part of my screen and people should be able to see that now. So if I take this stock here, I erase it, right? You can see I can just erase the ticker. If I just plug it back in, make sure it's caps lock. I can hit enter. It automatically populates with the name, yeah, and then the market cap in the billions, right? And also the current price over here. I don't know if you're able to see that it popped up, but yeah, it's just something. It's
Well,
still
Mike,
it's
looks
still
like
new.
I'm gonna be your student.
Yeah, you
The
could.
technology may not be the best, but
Okay.
I'll be sure to be one of your students.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the community you create. You show that we can all learn from each other. So I don't always just feel like only a student. I feel valued and I feel valuable, to be able to give back.
And that's the reason why I created a group on Viber. Once you graduate or finish the course online, then you can join Viber, where we can gather together in Viber, maybe have a additional training. So I don't want you to think that you're on your own. Please feel free to ask me any questions on only what's covered on the course.
True.
And I want to make sure that you make $100,000 because that is what I guarantee.
Absolutely.
So I want to work with you
to
make sure that you reach that level.
Yeah. Okay. I'm striving for assistant coach.
All right. Well, certainly I will be needing the help with, so many people jumping on board and taking advantage. Yeah. I will definitely need your skills as well too.
Can't wait.
So again, this is at Gryso, GRYSOSTA.podia, PODIA.com. And we're going to be releasing the online course on October the 1st.
All right. Sounds good. That date is approaching. I'll get your funds in order. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to meet you again, Mike.
Same here.
It's always great to have a discussion with you. Thank you so
good.
much.
Let's do it again sometime. Thank you so much.